Tail Grey Route, Chapter 9. Are we going on a date on this chapter? Who knows? Maybe. I checked the time on my phone as I dashed from the boutique towards the back of the building, swearing under my breath. My last client of the day had me staying back late with a request, and it was getting close to that time that I had to meet Gray at the restaurant. Oh. Luckily, I had planned an outfit out the night before. Okay. And I now take a few minutes to quickly change and freshen up my makeup, even if it has me running a little late. I want to try to look my best. Taking one last look in the mirror before I leave, I smooth down my hair and smile, happy with the final look. All that's left to do now is lock up the place and head out. Oh god. That sound scared me. The sound of my phone buzzing distracts me, just as I slip my keys in the back door to lock it. When I see Gray's name flashing across the screen, I answer it hurriedly. Hey, I'm so sorry, I'm running a bit late, I say breathlessly into the phone. Where did I put my handbag? I think I left it on the counter in the boutique. It's okay, the sound of Gray's calm, amused voice coming through the phone makes me feel less guilty about the lateness. Okay. I hurry back into the boutique to grab my handbag and flick off the lights. I was just checking, I'm not being stood up, that's all, says Gray. Not at all, I say with a quiet chuckle, pulling the door to the boutique shut behind me. I've just walked out the door, I'll be there in a few. See you soon. Was that like text messages? I'm assuming. After ending it's a phone call, okay. After ending the call, I stash my phone in my bag and hurry down the streets, my shoes clacking against the pavement loudly. The restaurant isn't far from my home, only a couple of blocks, and after another 5 minutes or so, I'm approaching the building. Finding Gray casually leaning up against the wall outside. It seems he decided on wearing that shirt he bought at my store. Somehow seeing him wear something I made makes my stomach flutter in response. Aww. Properly cleaned with like no scented detergent. He smiles when he sees me, and a feeling of relief washes over me. I may be a little late, but I've made it. Oh, girl, how do you feel good about this? I cannot. I'm scared of how they're gonna handle her lie. Or whatever. Oh. I can't live the moment right now. I'm living in the past. Sorry I'm late. I got held up with the client. I say as I take a moment to catch my breath after hurrying all the way here. It's fine. All that matters is that you're here. It says, waiting for me to ready myself before heading over to the front door of the restaurant. When I look up again, it's to find him watching me, a lopsided grin tugging at the corner of his mouth. What? I ask, raising an eyebrow at him. Nothing. It's just, you look really pretty tonight. Thank you. He grins wider as he shoves his hands in his pocket, his eyes dancing with mischief. My stomach tightens, my heart beating faster beneath his stare. I took a loose strand of hair behind my ear to distract myself, but I'm happy he noticed the effort I made. Well, you look pretty handsome in my clothes as well, I say with a nod to his outfit. He chuckles and dusts off the front of his shirt. I figured this would be appropriate for the situation. Scoring points with me, huh? He grins at me with this boyish charm, leaning in. Is it working yet? Maybe. I admit coyly, but you've still got the price tag and everything. His eyes widen in surprise as he scrambles for the tag. I what? I think she's joking, right? That'd be crazy. That means you didn't wash this. I laugh softly. He tries to tug on his shirt to see where the price tag is, face flushing with color. He gives me this deadpan look when he realizes I'm joking. It's nice to be reminded that he's not always the cool, casual charmer he pretends to be. Alright. Touché, he says. I giggle. Oh, come on. I removed it when I first gave it to you. I don't let any client of mine walk out of the store with a price tag still on their person. I remember that was a thing in my school, though. Everyone kept their price tags on them. It was usually on backpacks, and then it started on pants. Just to show off how much money they spent. And I'm like, what the fuck? And this one girl, her tag got, like... I guess somebody tugged it off her backpack. The next day she came with a new backpack with a new tag on it. I'm like, bruh. It's just a fucking backpack. Come on now. Gray leans in closer to me, his eyes clouding over. Bunny, I usually don't let people walk out of my home with clothes on their person. Oh. Well, we're not a streaker, so that shuts me up real fast as I feel myself blush in response. That's a little awkward, isn't it? Parading around naked, I say, giving a stilted chuckle. He raises his eyebrows at me. Is it? You haven't even tried it. I bow my head down and stare at the pavement. Maybe we should get inside, I suggest, trying to avoid his teasing. Gray straightens up and fixes the front of his shirt, then he extends out his arm. After you. Fancy. I smile up at Gray as I slip through the door and he holds it open for me, stepping into the restaurant. This music does not make me comfortable though. It's giving me the something's gonna happen and I'm like, what's going on? Oh, is my game not okay, there we go. Gray had let me pick out where I wanted to go for dinner, and I chose my favorite place, somewhere I hadn't been in for far too long. Wait, am I reading that right? What did it say? Somewhere I hadn't been in far too long, okay. Table for tea, thanks. Gray takes the lead and hails the waiter, who shows us to a dimly lit table near the back of the restaurant. I sling my jacket over the back of the chair before I sit, getting comfortable. The waiter comes back to our drink order, and we chat a little as we wait. After the 2 glasses have been set in front of us, I take a long sip of my wine. Is it red or white, girl? Either way, yuck. I still, even as an adult, I don't drink much alcohol. Thankfully, in my friend group, we don't drink alcohol mostly in general, so it's not awkward being forced to drink it. Thank God, because I haven't really found an alcohol that I prefer, honestly. I glance around at the other diners quietly, all happily engaged in conversation. It suddenly occurs to me that I haven't done anything like this in a long time. All of a sudden, I'm at a loss for what to talk about. I have no idea why Gray asked me out to dinner, and I'm sure that if I asked, I wouldn't get a straight answer anyway. So, tell me about yourself. Gray's voice distracts me from my thoughts. He seems perfectly at ease in this setting, and I envy that confidence in a way. I've never had a problem with being around people, but Gray's different somehow. But maybe because you're fucking lying to him? I'm afraid that I'm beginning to like him more than I should, and even becoming friends with him could be a dangerous thing. Well, yeah, it is when it's built on lies. What's there to tell? I say with a wave of my hand. You already know what I do, where I live. It doesn't get much more exciting than all that. I think silently to myself. Well, how about something I don't know? He casually pushes his blonde hair back from his face. What do you do when you're not running the store, for example? Not parade around naked in public, for one, I jab. Gray chuckles in response. Well, there's got to be something mysterious about you, Michiko. Yeah, like lying. Girl, just please tell him. I have anxiety right now of you not telling him. And I'm wondering, like, how is it going to happen? Because I do not want us to have an argument and, like, not talk for a while. And then it's going to be very sad. I think for a moment, pulling my bottom lip between my teeth, and then I shrug lightly. Most things I do revolve around the store. I design and create outfits, book appointments, take orders. I trail off at the look on his face, knowing that wasn't what he wanted to hear. Taking a deep breath, I exhale it slowly and try to relax a little more. I like to cook, I suppose. After work, I'll usually cook a nice meal and watch whatever series is on TV. That's more like it. He taps his finger across the edge of the table with a smile, and then his face shifts so slightly that I would have missed it. Missed it had I not been paying attention. What were you like in school? Oh, okay, I fucking figured he would ask this. He keeps his eyes on me as he raises his glass to his lips. My eyebrows dip at the question. I swallow hard to keep my surprise from showing. First, he sees my old school photo, and now he wants to know more. I was just a normal kid, not a gang leader or anything. I give a dismissive shrug, hoping to throw him off the trail. Oh, come on, he snorts. He's clearly not fooled by that answer. There's gotta be more than that. I shrug again, refusing to give any more information. Then he leans in closer, as though whatever he has to say next is some big secret. Ever get into trouble? He asks. Not that I can remember. I take another sip of my drink, purposefully avoiding his gaze. I don't believe you, he says with a laugh. I'll bet you were always up to no good. Girl, please. I look at him and a strange feeling comes over me. Why is he asking all these questions? What if he knows and he just wants you to be honest? His behavior the past few days has been so hot and cold. First there was him opening the package from my parents, and then the commotion with all the noise in the basement. When we had gone to Ikea together, I had started feeling like things were changing between us, though I know I shouldn't be letting my guard down around him. I'm finding it increasingly more difficult to keep it up, but I still can't make sense of all the questions, and I don't like what this might be leading up to. Why do you want to know so badly? I asked before I could stop myself. Ooh, bad answer. Gray raises an eyebrow at my accusatory tone, taking another gulp of his drink before he answers. I'm just trying to get to know you. Isn't that why people go on dates? I feel silly all of a sudden. My face warms just a little. He's only asking the types of things that anyone would ask on a date, isn't he? I obviously just need to relax. Well, sorry to disappoint, but I was just a regular high school student. I make an attempt to be cheerful, hiding my lie with a smile. If you're so desperate to talk about high school, then what about you? What were you like? Me? He says with an amused grin, and I almost regret asking at all. I was the leader of the DeKalb High gang, so I was pretty much a demon. He finishes the sentence with such a strange smile that I can do nothing but stare at him blankly, in complete disbelief that he'd be so open about his past. It takes a moment for me to compose myself. What kind of things did you get up to? I asked to cover my sudden awkwardness. Oh, the worst. Arson, assault, thievery, the usual kind of things that happen when you're part of the DeKalb gang. I falter for a moment, staring at the candle that sits on the table between us to steady myself. When Gray leans in, I blink away the memories that hang silently in the air. Does that scare you? He asks, his eyebrows dipped in question. Why would it? He hesitates for a moment. Cause most normal. Well, no, let me not assume. I personally, if somebody told me that when we're on a date, I'd be like, okay, kind of a red flag. Not even kind of, is red flag, because like, what if he's still into that stuff? Clearly he doesn't look like he is, but you can never be so sure. He hesitates for a moment, that strange smile still pulling at his lips. I really don't want to know what is going through his head right now. You said you weren't involved with any kind of gang activity. I thought it might surprise you, is all. I'm not a porcelain doll, I say in exasperation. Just because I say I was involved with the gang doesn't mean I don't know what they did. Gray holds his hands in front of him in defense and attempts to smother his smile. I was only checking. I didn't want to scare you off or anything. It would have scared me off already. I take in a deep breath and nod. It would take a lot more than that to scare me off, though I can hardly tell him that. Anyway, if the gangs are half as bad as you're making out, then they definitely don't sound like the kind of thing I would have had any interest in it. I say inwardly, squirming at the hole. I'm digging deeper and deeper for myself. It wasn't always so rough in the gang, Grace says, the smile finally dropping from his lips. I made a lot of friends. Most of them I still have today, including Jed. I raise an eyebrow at him. He's piqued my interest, and I think he knows it. The two of you seem pretty close. How did you become friends? I ask, laying an elbow on the table and resting my chin on my hand. I'd much prefer listening to him talk rather than be forced to answer any more of his questions. His eyes glaze over with old memories as his face goes solemn. Joe was pretty scrawny back when we met. He didn't have many friends, if any at all, and he used to get picked on a lot because of how small he was, he says. Small? We first met before we were even in the gang. I was on my way home from school one day, walking along, minding my own business, when I noticed a boy being pushed around by some older kids from our school. His eyebrows dip at the memory, as though it wasn't one he revisited often. I knew that there wasn't a lot I could do to help. He stares past me as he speaks, his voice low. It wasn't a fair fight, that much was obvious, but I couldn't just walk away. I don't want that kid to have to go through that on his own. Jen and I got the shit kicked out of us, he says with a laugh, his eyes finally snapping back to mine. He had a growth spurt about a year later, and that had everyone backing off in a hurry. But ever since that first day we met, we've been as close as brothers. I trust him with anything. I smile at the story, at the bond the two men have formed over the years. It reminds me of my friendship with Sarah. I had wanted to leave the gang after seeing her get hurt. I couldn't stand the thought of anything worse possibly happening to her. But I also remembered a similar event back in my school days, an unfair fight, one I let Nikki convince me to walk away from. I don't know what it says that I chose to walk away. Well, Gray didn't. I don't know. The conversation turns to lighter topics as our food arrives, but Gray continues to ask me questions about myself while successfully dodging the ones I ask him. I find that suspicious at first, but I'm enjoying his company too much to let it bother me for long. I figure he's just a private person when it comes to his personal life. He didn't mention being locked up or anything. When we finish our meal, we leave the restaurant, walking down the street shoulder to shoulder. Guys, I'm worried about this. Taking in a lungful of crisp night air, I let out a sigh. I'm in no particular hurry to get home, and I'm getting the same vibe from Gray. It's a nice night, I comment lightly, watching the sun dip behind the buildings and paint the sky an electric orange, fading into deep blue overhead. Yeah, it is. Gray slows to a stop. When I turn to look at him, he gives me a grin. How about we go and do something fun? We could visit your old school, he suggests, so I shake my head firmly. I don't think that's a good idea. I continue walking ahead, hearing his footsteps behind me as he catches up. Come on, it'll be fun, he assures me, matching his footsteps to my hurried pace. I want to see it up close and personal. I really don't think we should. Why not? He asks, slowing his steps behind me. Are you scared? I just don't want to. I say firmly, my steps faltering a bit. The real truth is that I have no good excuse apart from not wanting him to see anything there that he shouldn't. But I can't tell him that. Oh, so you're a chicken? He asks with an edge of amusement to his voice, and I whip around on the spot to face him. Excuse me? You're scared of seeing your old school again. A smile peeks out, and now I know he's teasing me. What happened there? Someone break your heart? Nothing happened there. It just sounds boring. That's all, I say through gritted teeth, attempting to seem disinterested. Well, I'm going with or without you, he says finally, stepping onto the road to cross to the other side and head in the direction of the academy. I swear under my breath as I watch him leave. Our date so far has been fantastic, and the last thing I want is for it to end in betrayal. Girl, I want to be the one to tell him about our shared history, not some random piece of memorabilia from our past. I'm just not ready to share yet, not on our first date. I have to follow him and hope I can prevent him from finding anything he shouldn't. I can't risk going home and waking up to find that he wants nothing to do with me or worse. My anxiety winning out. I call out to him as I hurry across the road to catch up. It's not a long walk to Cleaner Academy, but it's one that's spent largely in silence as I worry over what Gray could possibly find there. I don't know if there's anything there that I should be concerned about, but I have a bad feeling about it all the same. I mean, it's not like you're won awards or something, right? For the school to be showing off? Or pictures or something? My worries subside, however, when we get to the academy and find the front gate securely locked. I almost laugh out loud at the sight, but manage to keep my relief hidden this time. Looks like there's no way in, I say as I turn and leave. Sorry to disappoint you. Grabbing me by the hand, Gray pulls me back to him and stares down at me in amusement. You're really gonna give up that easily? It's locked. What else do you expect? I ask as I wave a hand towards the obviously impenetrable gate. It gives me a bemused look. Aren't you the one who says you weren't a porcelain doll? Well, He lowers down onto one knee in front of the large gate, pulling a small silver pin from his pocket. What are you doing? I whisper in alarm, glancing around for anyone who might walk by. Getting us inside, he says simply. I watch, baffled as he sticks the pen in the padlock and twists a few times before it gives a satisfying click. Does that actually work? I would never know. I know how to pick a lock well enough, but it's been years since I had to. Where did you learn how to do that? I picked up the skill after high school. I once saw an old friend do the same thing, and I knew I had to learn it, he says as he stands and dusts himself off. An old friend, huh? The gate gives off a squeak as he pushes it open, and I wince at the sound, glancing around once more before following him onto the school grounds. Guess we in here? I mean, isn't there cameras in school? Or no? Picks another locked door before we end up inside the building. The place is pretty creepy at night. The hallway and classrooms are all shrouded in darkness. We should leave. What if we get caught? I whisper to Gray, hurrying to keep up with him. Afraid you'll be put in detention. No, afraid I'll be locked in jail, which is worse. He grins back at me from over his shoulder. I peer through the windows into darkened rooms, wondering what would really happen if we were caught here. Most likely we'd be charged with trespassing, and I really can't afford to pay any kind of fine. Hey, it's okay. Gray's voice is soft when it drifts over to me. He falls back to slip a hand into mine, intertwining our fingers. There's no one else here, just you and me. Okay, that just makes it all the times worse. His confidence calms me somewhat. With a small smile, I nod and let him lead me forward. We pace the halls, with Gray stopping every now and then to look over an old photo on the wall or peer in a trophy case. My heart skips a beat as I glance down at our hands, feeling his warmth against my skin. You know, it's strange being here in the academy, Gray whispers as we walk. I was on the best terms with the gang here when I was in high school. I never thought I'd see the inside of this place. I swallow against the guilt that rises in me, watching his solemn face with curiosity. What was it like back then, being in the Capo gang? I ask quietly. He gives me a look, his lips tilting ever so slightly. It was great most of the time. We did what we wanted, whenever we wanted, and never apologized for it. Although he hesitates a moment, I squeeze his hand and encourage him to keep going. Now that I think back on it, there are some things I'd do differently if I had the chance, he admits with a small grimace, and my eyebrows dip in the question. It's hard for me to gauge how much Gray has matured since our teenage years. Having only interacted with him a handful of times, hearing him talk about his personal growth is of the utmost interest to me. What things? He stops walking and half turns towards me, our clasped hands hanging between us. I was pretty dumb back then, did a lot of things without really thinking them through. He lets out a long breath, rubbing his free hand over his face before he looks at me. I challenged the leader of the academy gang. I thought that if I could win the fight, I'd ensure the Capo had the top gang in the city. That would be the ones to fear, not Cleaner Academy. Things didn't go as planned. He stops again, the muscles in his jaw feathering as the memories wash over him. I stay quiet and wait, not sure what to say. Someone called the cops that night, and they broke up the whole thing before the challenge had even begun. But the worst part was the weapon they found when they arrested me. A weapon, I repeated. A knife. One I was sure as hell was carrying when I first arrived at the place. You weren't, I asked in confusion, thinking of the rumors I'd heard surrounding his arrest. I'd assumed the knife he was carrying was for the challenge. For me. Everyone else had assumed the same. No, someone planted it on me while the kings were fighting. Someone who was trying to get rid of me, he says bitterly. And I can't stop myself from brushing my thumb over the back of his hand. Do you think it was someone from the academy? I asked, my stomach turning to lead. It must have been. No one else was there apart from my guys and them. I had tried not to think back on that night over the years, but right now I can't stop myself. I hadn't given any orders for my gang to plant a weapon on Gray that night, so who could have done it and why? Surely you heard something about it, Gray asked, snapping me from my thoughts. Fuck, no I didn't. It's that dude. Ivan? He gives me that look again, the one that makes me wonder if he knows more than he's letting on. Maybe. I don't remember. I say quietly, and for once is it truth. He sighs, but when I look around again, my attention drifts elsewhere, and all thoughts of that night long ago vanish. Dropping his hand, I peer beside me to one of the classrooms, looking into the familiar space through the glass pane of the door. Is this your old classroom? Gray's voice comes from close behind me, tickling my hair. I nod, but I don't turn. This old room holds so many memories. It's strange to see it again after so long. When Gray brushes past me and pushes the door open, I don't stop him. I follow him in and glance around in wonder. The layout is the same. The teacher's desk sits at the front of the class with the individual student ones all set out in rows in front of it. Though everything looks a little more worn than it once was, the decorations covering the walls are much different. Which desk was yours? Gray's voice echoes. Am I sitting by the window? Gray's voice echoes over to me from where he stands in the aisle, both bathed in orange from where the setting sun floods through the windows. Was it this one? He points out the desk front and center, directly in front of the teachers, and I start ungracefully. Try again. He walks back a couple rows, the glint of a challenge in his eyes, and this time points out the one on the far left. Getting warmer, I say sweetly, and earning a playful grin from him. I trail behind him slowly as he heads towards the back of the class, my fingers running lightly over the ingrained wood of the old desk. Warmer, warmer, hotter, scorching hot. Are you sitting by the window? He places a hand on top of my old desk and looks up at me with an eyebrow raised. I thought only rebels sat in the back of the row. Maybe at your high school, I teased, circling the desk and bending to point at a small engraving in the back. See? Here's your proof. Gray leans in to get a closer look through the fading light, but it isn't difficult to miss the name Ichigo, engraved in neat letters into the wood. Wow, you sat in the back row of the class and defaced school property. I'm impressed, he says with a laugh. With a giggle, I push myself up to sit on the desk while Gray leans against the back wall, watching me with interest. You're full of secrets, aren't you? What do you mean? He studies me closely, a strange expression on his face. I think you're the one with secrets. No, I feel like that's deflecting. That's me in real Pandora's box. I play along with him, but I'm determined to be the one controlling the game this time. Am I? His face turns serious and he steps forward slowly until he's standing between my legs, his hands on top of the desk. His hands on the top of the desk either side of me. He leans in to whisper in my ear, so close that his nose brushes the side of my face, his warm breath tickling my skin. My heart pounds so hard I wonder if he can hear it. Then I want to learn them all. Are you sure you can handle them? I don't think you can. I think I might break your heart. I might break my own too while we're at it. I ask quietly, my voice steady, despite the trembling of my hands. He pulls back to look me in the eyes. His mouth sets in a tight line. You see, the thing about me is, I'm all about control. Well, guess what, buddy boy? I'm controlling this live relationship we have right now. His hands slide from the desk and onto the tops of my thighs. Oh, hello? Fingers digging into my soft flesh. Oh, I don't like the word flesh. Soft flesh firmly, but not hard enough to hurt. Her breath escapes me in a shaky gasp, one that his lips curling into a satisfied smile. The more I know, the more control I have over a situation, he says, before he lets go abruptly, pulling his hands back from me. Is that what this is? A situation? Oh shit, are we a situationship? I ask almost unconsciously, finding myself leaning towards him. So many questions, he tuts, and immediately something switches in me. I'm letting myself be distracted by him. I'm not the one who's in control at all. I'm only repaying you for earlier, I say firmly, blinking to clear the fog from my head, and the many, many questions you've asked me tonight. Why did you really take me out tonight? I asked bluntly, watching him for any sign of change. Because I wanted to spend time with you, he says simply. I don't believe you. You've been asking questions, which makes me think you have another motive. What motive could I have for wanting to be close to you? Valid. He's close enough to that his stormy eyes shine through the fading light, flickering over my lips. My mouth parts, breath shaking. When he leans in closer, I do absolutely nothing to stop him. Alright, lovely. Until a sound has him pulling back and a voice rings out through the hallway beside the classroom. I know you're in there. You better get out of here before I catch you. The teacher? What the fuck? What is the teacher doing here at... See, that clock says 4 p.m. It wouldn't be this dark at 4 p.m. Unless it's like 4 a.m. in the morning, which I doubt. It's a teacher, I squeak, jumping off the desk in a hurry. Grace swears under his breath and grabs me by the hand, looking around the place wildly. When his gaze lands on the window at the far side of the room, he pulls me along with him. He unlocks the latch and pushes up the window before turning to me. Quick, climb through. Alright. I do as he says, afraid to waste any more time, balancing on the windowsill and make the small jump to the ground below, steadying myself before turning to watch Gray jump down after me. Come on, he laughs as he takes my hand once more. We bolt back around to the front of the school, slipping through the still open gate and back onto the street. This was certainly a night to remember. Well. Well then. Alright. Girlie, I think we need to confess to him. We cannot keep playing these games. My anxiety cannot take it. And I cannot stand the idea that we're gonna upset this man. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Stay beautiful. And I'll see you guys in the next one.